collector car fans out there. This is Jason, the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports. Well, I tell you what, I got a great tales from the bush for you today. It's more of a question kind of thing. So, do Canadians build any really cool muscle cars? Well, let me tell you something. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. When people are looking into muscle cars and numbers of how many cars were made and all those statistics and stuff, there's a big thing that keeps getting left out that most people don't know. So I'm going to give it up. A big trade secret. Canadian production numbers are not included in all those numbers that you're seeing. How many 71 Hemi Cuda convertibles, how many 446 pack Chargers that they made. Canadian numbers are not included with those numbers. But we built those cars. Sometimes we put a different name on it. So instead of a Malibu, it's a Beaumont. You know, I mean, we had some different names. But the problem is with this, back in the late 60s, very early 70s, Canada had a production problem. We couldn't produce these cars fast enough for just the Canadian people. So all these pictures that you're going to be seeing while I'm talking to you are all Canadian cars. We built these muscle cars. I mean, we were just as normal as everybody else back in the late 60s, early 70s. That's a 428 Cougar. Right there. That's a 428 Cougar, Canadian-built car. We had these cars, but the Canadian government back then realized that we were not producing enough cars to satisfy just the Canadian population, that they banned exportation of our cars. You had to know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody to get a car out of Canada. Just because, you know, General Motors had a problem, Ford had a problem, Dodge had a problem with producing cars fast enough for just Canadians. Yeah, it's a Corvette right there. Beside another Corvette. But the problem was we just didn't have enough cars that were going out. So the Canadian government didn't allow exportation of Canadian cars to other places. So that's why you don't see them anywhere. And when you look at values of cars, I had a discussion with a friend of mine. When you look at value of even a 446 pack Canadian car, it doesn't hold the same value as a American 446 pack car. Look at that field of cars. Look at it. Look at it. But those numbers don't count. Oh God, that was when I found that car, it broke my heart. That was a real Boss 302. Anyhow, you know, our numbers didn't count because we weren't important. We weren't even producing as many cars. But you know, there's pictures here that you're going to see that we did produce these cars back then. We just didn't produce as enough as everyone else. But the biggest thing, the biggest catch to all of it, you know, it was a 428 car right there, Mach 1 Mustang. Is our numbers didn't count in the big count that's given nowadays. So when you look at how many cars are built, and they say, oh, only so many of these six-pack cars were built, and only so many of these cars were built. No, man, we built these cars in Canada. We did. We didn't make as big of a fuss about it as everybody else. There was no Yanko Corporation. There was no Mr. Norms, which is all that stuff's amazing. But we were kind of just trying to get cars on the road, you know. It wasn't about that stuff with us. And unfortunately, it should have been. We should have had some more big stinks back then, but we didn't. So, you know, if you're a collector out there and you want to go on an adventure and you want to find some real rare cars, well, you know what? Come on up to Canada, because we got them. They're tucked away, but they're still here. All the numbers that we had, these cars are still here. Canadians don't crush anything, because we don't need the metal from crushing them. So, look at that beautiful dart. It's Canadian made. I think that car was made in Ontario. T8 6-pack cars, we had all that stuff. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what other people say. I'm telling you right now, we produce some cool muscle cars. They're just not documented in any books that or numbers that people are looking at. We had the 442s. Of course we did. Just general public wanted a classic car. You imagine a dealership back in 1969 and somebody walked into a dealership that had a lot of money. You don't think we're going to offer them a 69 Hurst 455 old like this one sitting right here? That's a Canadian-built car right there. Your numbers can tell you what you want. That's a T8. You don't think we built these cars? Of course we did. We just couldn't export them because we had barely enough production cars for our own people. 340 Cuda convertible. That's a Canadian built car. All these pictures that you're seeing are pictures of cars that were built in Canada for Canadians. But we just didn't export them. That is a 71 six-pack Charger. All numbers matched. Next door to it's a Panther Pink Dart. All Canadian cars. This is a place that had, I mean, that's a 69 Charger RT. I don't think it was anything special, but that was built in Canada. 70 Challenger RT. I think that was only a 340 car, but it's a real sublime groove car. Real 340 car. Really nice car. Built in Canada. 71 446 pack. I think that was a GTX. Built in Canada. We had them. Sorry, but we did. So if you're a big car collector, even if you're not a big car collector, just a regular car collector like most of us are, and you want to find a really cool car, guess what? Look in Canada. You know, let's take 69 Nova. Instead of a 69 Nova SS 396 4-speed, we had a 69 Nova SD 396 4-speed. Same car. Just we named it different. We had to name it different. I don't know what the reason was for that or not. See that garage right there? All those are Canadian cars. Super cool. 6-pack, 340 Hemi cars. 70 Challenger RT convertible. That's a Canadian built car. We built these cars. So if you're trying to find a super cool car and you can't find anything in the U.S. It's decent. No, is that a Panther Pink AAR Cuda? Yeah, that was built in Canada. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody can tell me what they want, but that car was built in Canada. Come on over to Canada. I'm telling you, a little bit of digging. If you need some help, come through me. I'm a consulting business, so I can definitely help you out there. That's a 70 Challenger RT. I think I showed a picture of that one before. I think that was just a 340 car. Yep, that is a 427 Yenko Camaro. I don't think that one was built in Canada, but, you know, I threw it in there. And look at this field of cars right there. I mean, we have these cars here. At the end of the day, the numbers were not included for Canadian-built cars. That's a 442 convertible. Yeah, not a Canadian-built car. Imagine the dealerships back in 1969. Obviously, Canadians had to have something. We had to have some cool cars to draw people in. Draw people in that had money and stuff. So we built these cars. Sorry, I didn't mean to show that Challenger convertible again, but what a cool car, right? So if I can help in any way, just let me know. I can tell you about the production numbers. There's that Corvette again. God. Man, I would love to get my hands on that car. And I took that picture, but the guy just wouldn't have nothing to do with it. 69.5 lift-off hood, 6-pack car. Was that a Canadian car? Everybody's going to say no, we didn't make them. Yeah, we did. That right there, GT500, Canadian car. There's a tag to prove it, made in Canada. You know, we had these cool cars. There's a whole building full of Canadian super rare cars. 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible. You know, we may have been a different country. 71 Hemi RT, or no, I can't remember if that was a Hemi or not. I don't think it was. But we had to have these cool cars to put on the road, just like y'all did. There's a 70 Cuda convertible. So, you know, sometimes we name the cars a little bit different. You know, instead of a Beaumont, and instead of a Malibu, we named it a Beaumont or a Biscayne. Just, you know, came up with some stupid, dumb names for these cars, but it was the same production cars. That's a 71 446 pack Charger. It's a Canadian-built car. That was taken in Edmonton, Alberta. Those Edmonton guys know what the hell they're doing when it comes to collecting cars. These guys hung on to these cars because up north, Edmonton, Calgary, there was oil money, a lot of oil money back in the 60s and 70s. And that's where people went up there to make a lot of money. You go up $100,000 a year with no experience being a redneck or an oil necker and these cars, working with these cars, and you know, you make a lot of money and you want to buy a cool muscle car. So the cars are still up there. The boys up in Edmonton will give those guys one thing is they know how to collect them. Yeah, you see that right there? That's a 70 Charger RT. Plain Jane grandma car, but that's a frickin' Hemi. So's that one right there. That's a 69 Charger RT Hemi car. Sitting in a barn in Edmonton, Alberta. That's a Malibu. It's not an SS. Pretty cool looking car. Actually, it looks like it's been rolled over. May have seen a better days there on that one. Well, thanks for coming by and checking another Tales from the Bush, and hopefully you've been inspired by this video and you'll come back and check us out again.